Once upon a time, a bodhisattva was born as the son of a noble Brahmin couple. Since his father died when this bodhisattva was quite young, his mother sent him to the great teachers at the center of learning of Taxila to study the Vedas, the ancient scriptures. After many years of diligent work, the bodhisattva finished his studies and returned to the home of his mother, who was by now an old lady. The bodhisattva cared for his aging mother and began to teach the knowledge found in the three Vedas to the good youths who lived in his district. The bodhisattva was such a wise and compassionate teacher that he soon became famous. Scholars and students traveled from distant lands to listen to him and to learn from his great wisdom. Among the bodhisattva's many students was a young man from a poor village who was so unusually handsome that he dazzled the eyes of all who looked upon him. The young man seemed unaware of his splendid beauty as he studied the Vedas carefully and faithfully for 3 years. At the end of this time, the youth had learned all the knowledge of the Vedas. Bidding goodbye to his kind teacher, the bodhisattva, he returned to his village. When he arrived home, the handsome youth told his parents about the great wisdom he had learned. His mother listened thoughtfully and then said,
I am proud of your vast learning of the three Vedas, the Rig Veda, the Sama Veda, and the Yajur Veda. But tell me, have you learned anything about the courting of women?
The handsome boy shook his head.
No, mother,
He replied,
I have not yet learned anything about the courting of women.
So the youth returned to the bodhisattva and asked to learn about women. The bodhisattva carefully considered the matter and advised,
Of course, I do not know about this, but my mother understands the courting of women very well. You must study that knowledge with her. Go straight to my house over there and ask her to teach you.
Thanking the bodhisattva, the handsome boy went to pay his respects to the Brahmani lady. This noble lady was now more than 80 years old. Her skin was wrinkled and her hands trembled with age. But when she saw the handsome youth before her, she instantly fell in love with him. Without even bothering to be mannerly, she declared,
I love you very much, and you must marry me.
Oh, the astonished youth faltered.
I cannot marry you because you are the noble mother of my respected teacher. I honor him very much, and so I honor you very much. Since I am his student, I should not do anything discourteous that might distress him.
The old Brahmani lady lifted her trembling hand and wheedled,
Oh, my beautiful boy, do not worry about my son. I will find a way to get rid of him. Perhaps I must even kill him.
The youth was very upset by the words of the old woman. He backed away slowly. His voice shaking, he said,
Yes, madam, if you dare to do such a thing to your own son, then I know that I must surely agree to marry you.
Now, the youth loved his wise and compassionate teacher and feared for his life. He quickly ran to the monastery and, with great embarrassment, told the bodhisattva about the old Brahmani lady's irreverent proposals. The bodhisattva pondered a while and then gravely replied,
Of course, if my mother wishes to do away with me, You should ask her how she plans to do this, and does she wish to do so at night or in the morning? Please, young man, go and ask her.
The young disciple went to see the old Brahmani lady again and asked her how she planned to get rid of the bodhisattva. The aged woman eagerly explained her plans.
I will kill my son tonight. When he is sleeping, I will bring a sharp sword and cut off his head, but this must be a secret between us. You must never tell anyone, because after we are married, we must live peacefully together without any trouble.
Upon hearing this, the youth once more returned to the bodhisattva and told him the details of the old lady's plans. The bodhisattva listened thoughtfully and then carefully instructed the youth.
When night comes, I will bring a banana tree of about 4 arm lengths and place it in my bed. Then I will place a blanket over this tree so that it will look like a man who is sleeping very soundly with his head covered. You will come with me tonight and see the nature of my mother's character.
Late that evening, the bodhisattva and the young man prepared the bed with the covered banana tree. Then they stood quietly behind the curtain and waited. Soon, everything grew still. In a little while, the old Brahmani lady entered the room, dragging a large sword behind her. She walked slowly and softly to the bodhisattva's bed. She touched the bed carefully to make sure that he slept soundly. Then she felt what she thought was his leg, and finally she placed her withered fingers lightly upon his head. When nothing moved, she was certain that her son was in a deep sleep. Since she knew that she was old, she summoned all her strength to lift the huge sword and brought it crashing down onto the covered banana tree. But the sword was so heavy that the great effort proved too much for her. As the sword fell onto the tree, the old Brahmani lady toppled over and died instantly. The bodhisattva and the handsome youth watched and understood. "Oh," they said, "poor lady. She died because of love." In the Hindu religion, the Brahmins were the highest noble caste, supposedly wiser and more privileged than anyone else. Female members of this caste were called Brahmani. Buddhist monks delighted in telling stories in which Brahmins were depicted as crude, selfish, and silly. A bodhisattva is a being who is able to enter nirvana, something like heaven, and experience the ultimate happiness, but who declines to do so in order to remain on earth and help others.